I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice.
Do your own research.
Consult a professional investment advisor before making any investment decisions.
This show is for entertainment only. Faites vos propres recherches.
Here we are
in another episode
of the Simple Success Podcast.
And
this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective.
What is this terror barrier that blocks our way? It stands between us and our desired day. We must break through it, no matter what the cost, for if we don't, our dreams are lost. But how can we break through such a wall of fear? It seems so daunting, so hard to come near. We must find courage and strength within our souls, and use it to break through this terror barrier's hold. Let us not despair, for we have the power to conquer this fear in just 1 hour. Not really, less than that, but just 1 hour rhymes. Yeah, go on. Let us take a deep breath and face our fears, for only then can we break through these tears. Let us be brave and take a chance, for if we don't, our dreams will never advance. Let us break through this terror barrier with might, and together we shall win this fight. We don't give up, no matter what comes our way. We must stay strong and face the day. Let us take a stand and break through this wall, for then our dreams can come true after all.
It's learning time again.
Tell me more about this barrier of yours. Of mine? It's not exactly mine. Okay, it's excessive risk, whatever. Tell me more anyway. Are you ready to imagine invisible things? Not market volatility. Wait, how invisible? That is entirely up to you. It is? I'm really confused now. Worried about bad investments. Okay, let's keep it simple so our listeners will take this advice to heart. This terror barrier is a name for an invisible wall that stands between the average investor and their goals. Like the Berlin Wall? Like that, sort of, except that you were about -40 when that came down.
Not that anyone's counting.
Aha! So what makes up this terror barrier, or wall, or whatever it is? Good question, DT. It's all in our heads, as some people don't necessarily like to hear. And there's science behind that? Yes, there is. It's made up of fear, doubt, and uncertainty that can prevent us from taking action and achieving success. Let's break through it then. Agreed. We must find the courage to break through this barrier if we want to reach our desired outcomes. So let's recognize it and understand its power. You make that sound so simple. Thank you. Simple success is what we do here, right? That is true, and there's one other thing we need to do. Oh, right. Thank everyone in our third act today for another great year of us doing this podcast. Right. Plus, we need a few more concrete examples of the fear and doubt that can hold us back from taking action. Yeah, and then what? Then we identify these feelings and find ways to overcome them. Have we thought about ways to do that yet? We have, and it is simply taking small steps towards our goals. With enough courage and determination, we can break through this terror barrier and achieve our dreams. With no risk? I wouldn't say that. I'd prefer to say it has attractive risk. Does this have anything to do with the X and Y factor thing we talked about last year? Yes, it does. The X and Y factor are important components that we need to know to help break through this terror barrier. Indeed, the X factor is the status quo, the way things are now. And the Y factor?
Think. N. Grow. Rich.
The Y factor, well, put on your imagining cap for a second. The Y factor is that determination and courage to take action, to change the way things are now into the way we want things to be in this advice process. So it's yet another balance that we seek. It certainly can be. By balancing these two factors, we can break through this terror barrier and achieve our goals. So it's all about embracing change then? Yeah, to a very large extent it is. And embracing change goes hand in hand with taking risks? It does. Por supuesto. We must be willing to take risks and embrace change if we want to break through this terror barrier. What about learning and trying new things? Now, really, DT, what do you think I'm going to say to that? That it's the way to success? That's pretty cool. I like that. I wasn't going to use those words exactly that way, but that is one of the many benefits of a true mastermind. Oh, right. The old 2 heads are better than one thing. And 5 heads are better than 2 heads. Oh, do I feel you on that. But not only that, better than 5 heads. Better than 5 heads? Yeah, better than 5 heads is...
Break number 1.
Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us, please subscribe to us in your favorite podcast player. You can find us on both the App Store and the Play Store because our message is for everyone. Leave a rating for us, or even better, tell a friend. Whichever you choose, thank you so much for helping us do this for you. To leave us a written message, which just might lead to more in a future podcast, go to those same written show notes to find our subreddits. There is also our Facebook group page, Twitter, and other ways which we'll tell you about from time to time. You can also find an Easter egg every so often, so listen closely. Thank you again, and keep those constructive ideas coming. So before that bit of incredible wisdom, you were saying? Oh, when I was saying this something you think I was saying. Before that first break, silly. Oh, that was quite a long time ago in my world, my liege. But it does helpeth to think not of the terror and the barrier. Does it help to consider the wisdom of guests? It does. And by that, I am gathering that we have one today. We do. Our guest today is Mr. Mark Hirschberg, an instructor at MIT. Oh, he must be extra smart. He is, but he's pretty humble too, and he spends a good bit of his time helping to build tech startups. He's also the author of the Career Toolkit, which we've linked in the show notes. Yeah, and there's other stuff there too. It's a great place. And today, Mark's here to help us build our success and build a plan for it. Yes, and he's also got a phone app called Brain Bump for that, which we should also have in the show notes. Right, taken care of. Let's go talk to him now.
Hello, Mark. Glad to have you here with us today on Simple Success.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Thank you, Mark. Tell us more about your approach to leadership that you developed.
What we found is most people know the term. We've all heard about leadership. We've been told it's important, but no one actually sits down and teaches us what that means or how to do it. They just hope we kind of figure it out by osmosis. And for over 20 years, I've been teaching at MIT's Career Success Accelerator. We recognize that these are the skills employers want, but that aren't being taught. And so what we've done is we take some of the key ideas from the top leadership research, and then we've distilled them into easy to digest content, into ways that people can quickly access and execute on those ideas, and to accelerate their own success and their own careers. What we want to do is help you retain the information from when you first get it to when you need it, or provide it in a just-in-time manner. Okay. So we created something called the Brain Bump app. And what the app does, it takes key ideas from multiple books, blogs, podcasts, classes, talks. Like Netflix, we're constantly adding new content. We take the key ideas from these topics, we put them in the app, and then you can access those ideas one of two ways. Either you might say, hey, I'm a new manager, and there's all this stuff I have to remember, so I'm going to set up that each day at 9 a.m. when I walk into the office, I get a management tip. It's like a daily affirmation. Okay. You don't even have to open the app once every 30 days just so you're still active. You don't have to think, I have to open the app. It just pops up on your phone at a time you set. We don't bother you. We don't spam you. You said at this time, I want this content. That's what you get. So the content from all these great resources, podcasts like this one and books and blogs, right in your pocket to either get just in time or to get that daily reminder. So it's like a cross between a flashcard app, a daily affirmation app, and a book summary app all in one. You just get that little daily reminder, and we know spaced repetition works. We know that when you see it over and over, it's there, it's top of mind for you.
The spaced repetition really does work in a lot of areas. I use it in physical fitness, in walking steps. Okay, I did this. Now, today, tomorrow, the next day, I got to do it again. Next day, I got to do it again. And I practice, and I practice, and I practice.
That's exactly right. And it's these little steps that build up the habit.
What would you say to a customer who has heard that term, but doesn't necessarily know why it's important?
I think one of the most powerful concepts in terms of obviously finance, but also our own success. Now, we know when saving for retirement, when we start out and we're 20 or 25, we don't have tens of thousands of dollars that we can set aside at that age. But hopefully you started young. And if you didn't, start today, because today is always better than tomorrow. When you set aside even a few $100s, what happens is you get that compounding interest and it builds up over time. It multiplies over time. Let's think about an example other than sticking it in your bank account. So here's an example that I teach all my students. One of the topics we cover is negotiating. Okay. It's another topic like leadership. We've all heard of it. We know we need to do it, but we've never really had training. You're 35 years old and you have a job offer for $100,000. But instead of just saying, yes, I'll take it, you've learned to negotiate. Whether you read my book, learned it somewhere else, doesn't matter. You've got a little bit better. We're not talking about you're an FBI hostage negotiator. You're solving international disputes. Just a little bit better than you are today. You negotiate that job and you get 102,000. 2,000 more, 2%. We can imagine negotiating that. That might take you a 10-minute phone call, a couple emails back and forth. So you went from 100 to 102. If you do nothing else in your career, if you stay in that job for the next 30 years, that 10 minutes of work, that one little negotiation just got you $2,000 more for 30 years. It just got you $60,000.
Right.
But of course, you're not going to be in that job for 30 years.
Right.
You're going to have other jobs. You're going to go and negotiate those. You're going to get even more than 2% or $2,000 on some of those if you learn to negotiate. Just getting a little bit better than you are today, you can add tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars to your lifetime earning.
Right.
Now,
and that's not even and that's not even allowing for saying taking that $2,000 per year and saving it in something that actually really compounds that interest too.
Very good. Or reinvesting it in your training or other things. And now I use negotiations. We can say 2 times 30 years. But in fact, this applies to so many skills, whether it's building up the number of steps you walk each day and really what that's doing to your health. I mean, think about all the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of steps you've done, how that's really helped your health. We can also apply the same idea with our leadership or team building or communications. And it's not that someone says, oh, you're a slightly better teammate, here's $2,000 more, but you're going to stand out. You're going to get on other teams. You'll be recognized as a leader. You'll get promoted faster, and you'll have the same compounding effect, even if they don't directly link, here's X dollars more because you did Y.
Right. And as Napoleon Hill puts it, you're not just raising yourself up to where you can see more opportunities. You're also raising yourself to where more opportunities can see you.
Well said. That's exactly right.
Well, thank you, Mark. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our guests today?
Focus on these skills. Remember, it's not about being the best. It's just getting that little bit better, getting that compounding effect. And one of the best ways to develop these skills is to do it in a small group, because these skills are more akin to sports. It's not just about reading. You can read about baseball, but you won't be a good baseball player unless you actually practice. And so in small groups, you can discuss leadership ideas. You can discuss communication ideas, practice negotiating things. So find a small group of people. You can do this within your organization, and then you upskill everyone. Or if your organization doesn't want to do this, create a local meetup group, find some friends, and together tackle some of these skills where you read some of the content, you listen to great podcasts like this one, and then discuss and dissect. And that's going to provide accountability. You're more committed to doing it, and it's going to really help you gain a deeper understanding. So create those groups and use the free Brain Bump app, because that app is going to help you retain what you read, what you learn, and what you talk about.
And we'll find that in the show notes with everything else. Well, thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate your insight, Mark.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Figuring out how to build our success is a lot like punching through the terror barrier, isn't it? It is, but if you act all the time like you're leading, whether it's others or just yourself to start, then you don't worry about it because it's a habit, which you developed with spaced repetition. Yeah, like my 12,000 steps per day thing.
You should try it.
And what else? What else would be another Napoleon Hill concept, which is something Mark said? It is indirectly. And that is that you are not just raising yourself up to where you can see other opportunities. You're also raising yourself up to where other opportunities can see you.
Napoleon Hill Court detected.
Which means there's a lot more to discover and we have a lot more to talk about.
But first, break number 2.
We know a lot about you already because we know ourselves. For example, we know that you know how to listen to our podcast. We also know that you probably know how to subscribe. So as soon as you're done with that, tell us your story. We have ways you can contact us. It involves a special link where you can leave us a message. We may have an email address for you as well in the future, and we'll let you know if that happens. The reason for subscribing? I thought you'd never ask. When you subscribe, you automatically download all future episodes of that podcast. It just happens in your player without you having to go search again. How cool is that? This means better rankings for the podcast, more attention from advertisers, and more money. And this means more and better stuff for you. So your motivation is simple and easy. Subscribe today, whatever app and from whatever place you like. And don't just try to subscribe. There is no try. There is only do. We're changing the way we look at things, and remember, that's good. Eso es buenísimo. Also remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. Our call to action is right in the show notes. Find it, and you win too. So, this terror barrier thing is a psychological concept? It is. It's a psychological concept that refers to the fear and resistance we feel when we're about to do something new or challenging. Not that I'd ever do something new or challenging. Well, you're only 2. Give it time. 3 almost. Or 3. Anyway, you've got your whole life ahead of you is the point. As do you, my liege. Thank you, DT. And that doth make a scrumptious segue into your next question, which is, how does that relate to investing? Right. Well, a lot of people are afraid to start investing because they're scared of losing money or not knowing enough about it. Yeah, as if I said something like, I've been wanting to invest for a while now, but I'm just too nervous about it.
Yep.
Agreed all. I used to feel the same way, but then I found a simple solution that helped me get past my terror barrier and start investing. What's the solution? A financial advisor? No, not necessarily. The solution is multi-pronged. But before we break that down, yes, everyone. Everyone? Yes, everyone. Everyone who should be writing this down right now. Everyone needs to be on board with what the terror barrier really is. Survey says, and the terror barrier really is? It's our fear of the unknown. And how do we show that? Funny you should ask. We tend to describe some new unknown thing as being the worst. El peor. When, because it's unknown, it just might actually be the best. El mejor. And we won't know that until we try. Right. The worst is not, so long as we can say this is the worst.
Right, King Lear.
So about those prongs you mentioned. The ones which solved my not wanting to invest?
Yep.
Yeah, those. Thanks, Kevin. All friends shall taste the wages of their virtue, and all... Wait, what am I saying? All foes the cup of their deservings? Yeah, King Lear, whatever that meant. It meant that the people who hear and do, right, hear and do one or more of the next few things will benefit and then be encouraged to pay it forward. Interesting. And that sounds like it could be really helpful.
You are welcome, de nada, de rien.
Thank you. So what's one of those things? Again, those things, some of which won't be everyone's thing, and that's okay as long as it gets tried. Understood. Okay, one of those things is robo-advising. Oh, we're letting AI guys and girls do our investing for us?
Enough of the AI jokes.
Not all of it. How much of it? Just an MSI's worth. Huh? Plus lentement, s'il vous plaît. Okay, I'll slow down. I'm helping you break down your financial investing into little pieces, each of which is its own MSI? Precisely. So your portfolio, when we break it down, right, is not just going to spread across asset classes like some people suggest. Nay, it's going to go further than that.
Yep.
Correct. It's going to be composed of different things, like some stock market stuff, some real estate,
some crypto, some other businesses,
and perhaps other investment decision things as well. Yes, indeed. So we are really just adding an automated investment platform that uses algorithms to create and manage your diversified portfolio. That sounds interesting, but how does it help with the terror barrier? Good question. So think of it this way. Remember when I used to downplay the idea of technical trading? Yes, that was before me, but I've heard about it. You didn't originally take to automated portfolios, did you? You'll have to listen more to find out. We covered it back in 2021, I think. Yeah, so how does that tie in? It ties in the same way. I'm now okay with having a small portion of what you do center around technical trading. Why? Note the 4-year-old why thing again. 2 reasons. The why is because I've learned more. It has the advantage of working for you without you spending time on it, and that's good. The robo-advisor handles everything for you based on your investment goals and risk tolerance. This takes away a lot of fear, which is overcoming the terror barrier.
The terror barrier.
Remember, when we focus on how hard something is or how scared we are, we make it even harder for ourselves to take action and overcome our fears. Got it. So is this where we thank everyone for another great year? Sure, no better time than right now. We can do that here. And that is some great expert advice, by the way. Thank you. And that's the essence of the terror barrier?
Yep.
Right, Kevin. It's the mental block we create for ourselves when faced with a new or challenging situation, and from which we can extract ourselves only with practice. Having started with the right attitude, which we cultivate in this show, which means we're all going to continue to listen and get better and better and better.
Which is how you've all gotten good.
Gracias por escuchar.
Salut. À la prochaine.
This podcast and our other podcast are productions of Little Red Hen Industries. The supporting cast who helps me bake the bread includes
Techno King, John C. Brandy, Alter Ego, Doubting Thomas, Fact Checker, A Small Brown Beef Animal, Seriously, Tiny. Facts are important but are also easy. Social Manager, Abraham Lincoln, Media Expert, Augustus Caesar. Psychologist, William James. Sound Designer, Adobe's Creative Suite. Spanish Consultant, Cameron J.K. Brandy. French Consultant, Leah, the Do-Your-Own Research Lady. Videographer, Eto Monkoshki. Audio Props, Les Paul. Inspiration, many podcasts and other sources, and of course Napoleon Hill.
We also have websites, and you can subscribe to both podcasts. You can even send us a video, audio, or text message, but of course you'll have to head to the show notes, either on your phone or on the web, to get the links and stuff. And all those clickable links are in the show notes.
And before we forget, the artificial intelligence or AI voices that you hear in our work are offered up by Google, Amazon Polly, and OpenAI, like we say in the show notes. They don't sponsor us yet, but we love what they do, and we just love what AI can do when lovingly crafted.
Finally, you can find us on Podmatch.com, Matchmaker.fm, Podbooker and Podcast Guests, where we consider guests and consider guesting on other people's shows.
And really finally, the music for our pods comes from Cute by Ben Sound and from Piano Background by Nick Simon Adams, as well as from AI MuseNet. The sound effect credits go to Jackson Academy Ashmore, Canusi G, Dr. Jekyll, Joe Payne, Everything Sounds, MK Play More Stories, ERH, Sand Emotions, Big Pickle 51, and Just Kidding. Yes, that's his or her name. All on freesound.org. Also, languages are the bomb.
Paul.